This is not about nostalgia. It is not about laziness or lack of curiosity. The reason someone returns to the same story, knowing every line, every scene, every outcome, is because their nervous system is searching for something it never received. Once they understand what that something is, the shame around this behavior dissolves entirely. They have watched it 12 times, maybe more. They have lost count. The same episodes, the same jokes they can recite before the characters deliver them, the same narrative arc they know by heart. And still, when the decision arrives, what to watch tonight, they choose it again. There is a small moment of hesitation, a flicker of judgment, the thought that they should branch out, try something new, prove they are not stuck. And then they press play anyway. Because something in them knows what the rest of the world does not. This is not laziness. This is not lack of imagination. This is their nervous system asking for something specific and receiving it. The culture calls this stagnation. Psychology calls this regulation. The pattern often begins in childhood, though not always. It begins whenever life required a level of vigilance that left no room for surprise. When the environment was unpredictable, emotionally, physically, relationally, and the nervous system learned that novelty could mean danger, that the unknown was not an adventure, it was a threat. For some, this was the household where moods shifted without warning, where a parent's tone in the morning determined the safety of the entire day, where the child learned to read micro-expressions, to predict, to scan for signs of what was coming. Novelty in that environment was not exciting, it was destabilizing. The brain built itself around a simple equation: predictability equals survival. Picture the child sitting at the top of the stairs, listening. Not to words. They learned early that words were unreliable, but to tone, to the space between sentences, to the quality of silence that predicted whether it was safe to come down or better to stay hidden. That child is building a nervous system that will, decades later, seek out the same story over and over again. Not because they lack curiosity, because their brain learned that survival depends on knowing what comes next. For others, it arrived later. The adult who lived through prolonged stress, chronic illness, financial collapse, relational betrayal, the slow grind of burnout. The system that spent months or years in a state of hypervigilance, where every decision carried weight, where rest was not possible because rest meant vulnerability. The brain does not forget those seasons. Even after the crisis passes, it remembers, and it continues to ask for what kept it alive. The known, the controlled, the predictable. The rewatch is not regression, it is resource. It is the nervous system saying, I have been in survival mode long enough. I need something in my environment that will not surprise me. I need proof that some outcomes are guaranteed. I need to stop bracing. What it costs them is not the time spent watching. It is the internalized belief that they are doing something wrong. The creeping sense that they are wasting their life on repetition while others are out there exploring, discovering, growing. They have been told implicitly or explicitly that consumption of the same content is a failure of curiosity, that growth requires novelty, that to stay in the same place is to stagnate, and so they watch their show and they feel guilty. They scroll past recommendations for critically acclaimed series, documentaries that would expand their worldview, films that would challenge them. They know they could choose differently, and yet they do not. And they interpret this as weakness. They compare themselves to people who seem to effortlessly consume new content every night, who have opinions on the latest prestige drama, who can discuss the newest limited series, who are always in the cultural conversation. And they wonder what is wrong with them, that they cannot seem to do the same, that after a full day, all they want is the show they have already seen. The show that asks nothing of them. The show that will unfold exactly as it always has. What they have not been told is that their brain is making a calculation that the culture does not understand. The calculation is this: I have a finite amount of regulatory capacity tonight. I can spend it on navigating a new narrative, new characters, new emotional stakes, new tonal uncertainty, or I can conserve it. I can let my nervous system rest inside a story it already knows. A story that will not surprise me. A story that will not ask me to brace. The cost is not the rewatch. The cost is the shame they carry for needing it. Here is where the biology becomes impossible to ignore. Stephen Porges, the neuroscientist behind polyvagal theory, describes the nervous system as constantly asking a single question: am I safe? Not philosophically safe, not abstractly safe, physiologically safe. And the answer to that question determines everything: heart rate, digestion, immune function, capacity for connection, ability to think clearly. When the nervous system detects threat, real or perceived, it mobilizes. Sympathetic activation. The body prepares to fight or flee. Heart rate increases. Pupils dilate. Digestion shuts down. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for complex thought and decision-making, goes offline. Because in a moment of danger, nuance is a liability, speed is survival. But here is what most people do not realize. Novelty registers as potential threat. The unfamiliar requires the brain to work harder, to assess, to predict outcomes without a template, to stay alert to what might go wrong. This is why decision fatigue is real. Why choosing what to watch can feel like one decision too many after a day of 1,000 micro-choices. Why the simple act of scrolling through options can feel more exhausting than just giving up and going to bed. The rewatch removes that demand. The brain does not have to predict. It already knows. The narrative will resolve in a way that does not destabilize. The characters will behave within expected parameters. The emotional stakes will rise and fall in a rhythm the nervous system has already mapped. There will be no unexpected tonal shifts, no sudden character deaths, no narrative betrayals. And so the ventral vagal system, the branch responsible for social engagement, for rest, for the felt sense of safety, can come online. This is not avoidance. This is active care. This is the nervous system receiving exactly what it needs in order to move out of hypervigilance and into a state where rest is possible, where connection is possible, where the body can stop scanning for danger and just exist. Consider the person who rewatches their show during a breakup. The same episodes they have seen a dozen times, playing on loop while they move through the wreckage of what was. They are not watching because the show is good. They are not even particularly paying attention. The show is on in the background while they cry, while they stare at their phone waiting for a text that will not come, while they try to make sense of how everything fell apart. They are watching because their system is overwhelmed, and novelty, new characters, new stakes, new emotional territory, would require energy they do not have. The known narrative becomes a tether. It says, the world is chaotic, but this story will unfold exactly as it always has. You can rest here. You can stop bracing for the next blow. This one thing at least will not betray you, or the person starting a new job, The first weeks of code switching, of learning unspoken rules, of performing competence while internally scrambling. Every interaction is a calculation. Every email is revised 3 times. Every meeting is a performance of ease they do not feel. They come home and their brain is static. Too much input, too many variables, too many ways they could have said the wrong thing, missed the social cue, failed to read the room. And so they put on the show they have watched since college, not because they lack options, not because they are incapable of appreciating new content, because their prefrontal cortex has been working overtime all day and it needs to stop working. The rewatch is permission to let their guard down, to stop performing, to exist in a space where nothing is being asked of them, or the person living through a global pandemic when every day brought new information, new rules, new fears. When the future became unreadable, when control was an illusion. When the baseline level of threat in the environment was constant and inescapable. They watched the same show every night for months, and when someone asked why, they said, "I do not know, I just need it." What they meant was, I need something in my life to be exactly as I expect it to be. I need proof that some things do not change. I need to stop calculating risk for 10 minutes and just let a story happen to me without having to manage my reaction to it. I need my nervous system to remember what safety feels like. The show is not the point, the regulation is the point. And here is the deeper truth they have not been told. The people who judge this behavior are often people whose nervous systems were not built in environments that required this kind of self-soothing. They are people for whom novelty has always felt safe, for whom exploration has never been a risk, for whom the unknown registers as adventure rather than threat. Their systems were not shaped by unpredictability, and so they do not understand that what feels like stagnation from the outside is actually meticulous self-preservation from the inside. The person who rewatches is not stuck. They are listening. They are attending to a system that is asking for specific conditions in order to regulate, and they are wise enough to provide it. This is not weakness. This is not failure. This is sophisticated attunement to their own needs. It is the opposite of dissociation. It is presence. It is care. This does not mean they never watch anything new. It does not mean they are incapable of growth or change or exploration. It means they have learned, consciously or not, that their capacity for novelty is variable, that there are seasons when they can explore and seasons when they need to return, that there are days when their system can handle new narrative stakes and days when it cannot, and that both are legitimate, both are necessary, both are evidence of wisdom, not weakness. There is a particular kind of intelligence in knowing what you need. In being able to name, even quietly, even just to yourself, tonight I need predictability. Tonight I need to know how the story ends before it begins. Tonight, I need my nervous system to stop scanning for danger and just rest inside something I have already survived. The culture valorizes the person who is always seeking, always consuming new content, always expanding their horizons. And there is value in that. But there is also value, deep, biological, necessary value, in the person who knows when to stop seeking and start returning, who understands that growth is not linear, that rest is not the same as stasis, that repetition can be a form of repair. They are not broken, they are not lacking, they are not wasting their time, they are doing exactly what their system needs them to do. And the fact that they feel guilt about it is not evidence of personal failure. It is evidence that they have internalized a cultural narrative that does not serve them, a narrative that says productivity is the only valid use of time, that novelty is always superior to familiarity, that staying in one place means you are not growing, None of this is true. And none of it accounts for the nervous system that was built in chaos and is simply asking for a little bit of order. So if you recognize yourself in this, if you have spent years apologizing for rewatching the same show, if you have felt the quiet shame of pressing play on something you have already seen, if you have been told by others or by your own internal voice that you should be doing something more productive with your time, here is your permission. You are not broken. Your brain is not malfunctioning. You are not stagnant or lacking in curiosity or wasting your life. You are regulating. You are listening to a system that knows what it needs, and you are allowed to trust that. The show you keep returning to is not a crutch. It is a resource, and the fact that you need it does not make you less. It makes you wise. It makes you someone who has survived enough to know that survival sometimes looks like watching the same 22 minutes of television you have already memorized. And that is not pathology. That is brilliance. If this named something you have carried in silence, subscribing and liking genuinely helps this work reach the people who need it. Thank you for your support. If you are watching this and you have rewatched the same show more times than you can count, leave a single word in the comments. Again, those who know will know.